We're sitting in Emek, Yizre'el right now. Yizre'el, the word comes from Zera'el. It was a very fertile place. And here the story of Navot HaYizre'eli comes into play. Navot had a kerem, since it was such a fertile place, it was where he would stay, and Achav was up the mountain. Over here they say they found a palace from that time, and it could be that's where Achav was, and he was looking down and he wanted Navot's kerem. Navot didn't want to give his land to Achav. He said he wanted to keep it within the family. And the Pesukim point out that Achav was Melech Shomron, that the Yizre'el area was not his area.
ויהי אחר הדברים האלה, כרם היה לנבות היזרעאלי אשר ביזרעאל, אצל היכל אחאב מלך שומרון. So wait a minute. The main palace, the main capital is Shomron, up in the mountains. But there are two problems with that place. One, it's far away from where we grow all our crops, which means it might be the political center, but I need a additional center. Two, there are times a year where you prefer to be up in the mountains, and there are times a year that you'll prefer to go into the valley. When are these and when are those? I prefer to be up in the mountain in the summer because we get a good breeze. I prefer to be down in the valley and not freeze to death in the winter. So we theoretically can assume that Heichal Achav Melech Shomron in Yizre'el is his winter home. Okay. And here comes a deal we can't say no to, right? You know what, I'll buy your kerem, your vineyard. And Navot says, no. Why does he say no? He says it's his nachalat avot. And what does that mean? I want what my parents and grandparents had to be continuing in my generations because that's ours. By the way, that might be much, much better. But I feel it's mine. I'm connected to it. It's generations. Achav tries everything and it doesn't work. So what do? If you can't win them, confuse them. Pasuk Yud Zayin. ויהי דבר השם אל אליהו הנביא לאמור, קום רד לקראת אחאב מלך ישראל אשר בשומרון, הנה בכרם נבות אשר ירד שם לרשתו. Wait a minute, where is he? In Shomron and Kerem Navot? He's in Kerem Navot. Exactly. Why do they insist calling Achav HaMelech Asher B'Shomron? Call him Melech Yisrael. Why do they insist? It happens twice. His father formed the capital. They're actually saying, your father's spot is there, not here. He's the king of Shomron, but he's taking over Israel. He's the king. Not that he's not allowed to do that. It's just exactly dealing with the Nachalat Avot that Navot is telling him. He's actually playing with that they insist on calling him the king of Asher B'Shomron. And once is enough. When you say it twice, it's actually saying, notice. And of course, הרצחת וגם ירשת, ודיברת אליו, במקום אשר לקקו הכלבים את דם נבות, ילוקו הכלבים את דמך גם אתה. And then Achav says, המצאתני אויבי? He responds, מצאתי, יען התמכרך לעשות הרע בעיני השם. And of course, he curses him like you curse a bad guy, that no one will remain from his family. And what does Achav do? He takes it seriously. He actually, of course, tears his garments and sits on the ground. He's repenting in some way. Okay, Pasuk Kafchet, וידבר השם אליהו התשבי, הראית כי נכנע אחאב מלפניי, יען כי נכנע מפניי, לא אבי הרעה בימיו, בימי בנו אבי הרעה על ביתו. Punishment postponed one generation. So let's skip one generation. Melachim bet tet. ואלישע הנביא קרא לאחד מבני הנביאים ויאמר לו, חגור מותניך וקח פח השמן הזה בידיך ולך מות גלעד. Situation is war. War between the son of Achav, by the way, the second son of Achav. Two of his sons were kings. And Aram. Where is that? In Ramot Gilad. That way. We can't see Ramot Gilad from here, but it's that way. Quite far off. And ובאת שמה וראה שם יהוא בן יהושפט בן נמשי, ובאת והקמותו מתוך אחיו, והבאת אותו חדר בחדר, ולקחת פח השמן ויצקת על ראשו, ואמרת כה אמר השם משכתיך למלך על ישראל. ופתחת הדלת ונסת ולא תחכה. Do that and run away. Why? Yehu is one of the generals in the army. The moment he announces someone as king in public, he'll be considered a traitor. You don't want to do that. So you want it happening in a hideout, run away. And then what will happen? I'm going to skip. Pasuk Vav. ויקום ויבוא הביתה ויצוק השמן אל ראשו ויאמר לו משכתיך למלך על העם השם אל ישראל. And then of course he promises what the good or bad things he's going to do. Okay. End of Pasuk Yud. ויפתח הדלת ואנוס. Not waiting for any response, running away. ויהוא יצא אל עבדי אדוניו ויאמר לו השלום מדוע בא המשוגע הזה אליך? Prophets are crazy, right? They're known as crazy. Evil hanavi meshuga ish haruach. We'll say Hosea, if I remember correctly. Okay? And they say, Yehud, a little bit embarrassed, walks out, says, I was a crowned king. What do? וימהרו ויקחו איש בגדו וישימו תחתיו אל גרם המעלות ויתקעו בשופר ויאמרו מלאך יהוא. I just remind you one tiny thing. There's a battle happening. We're in the middle of war. Remember this detail. Pasuk Tetvav, Vayashov Yehoram HaMelech his Achav's son, להתרפא ויזרעאל מן המכים אשר יכו ארמים, בהילחמו את חזאל מלך ארם. He's fighting and he's resting, recuperating for his injuries in Yizre'el. Of course, waiting for news what's happening in the border. And Yehu says, no one go tell them. And he's writing, he's crazy, not less than the prophet. He's riding crazily towards Yizre'el. And of course the scout overlooking says, hey, there's something approaching from the battlefield, right? And Yehu deflects all those messengers trying to get the news beforehand and arrives, and what does he do? Pasuk Kaf Aleph, ויאמר יהורם אסור ויאסור רכבו, ויצא יהורם מלך ישראל, ואחזיהו מלך יהודה, these are cousins, איש ברכבו, ויצאו לקראת יהוא, וימצאוהו בחלקת נבות היזרעאלי. They happen to meet right there. Yehoram says, everything okay? What does Yehu say? Yeah, everything's fine. And he attacks him. He attacks him and kills him. שא השליחהו בחלקת שדה נבות היזרעאלי, כי זכור אני ואתה את צמד רוכבים צמדים אחרי אחאב אביו, והשם נשא עליו את המסע הזה. Make sure he's dying in the Navot space. And then, what happens is, Yehoram was killed, Achaziyahu barely gets out of here, and what will happen to him is he will get all the way to Yerushalayim, and וירכיבו אותו עבדיו ירושלימה ויקברו אותו וקבורתו עם אבותיו בעיר דוד. Achaziyahu and Yehoram are killed by Yehu. In the gate of Tel Dan in 1993, they found a broken inscription in Aramaic. This is a picture, or a little bit smaller than the real one, of the three pieces that were found of this big inscription, telling us in Aramaic of Chazael Melech Aram that attacks Israel and killed Yehoram ben Ach'av, or of course it's in Aramaic, so it's Yehoram bar Ach'av, Melech Yisrael, and Ya ben Yo, Achazia ben Yoshaphat, because it's Achazia ben Yehoram, sorry, it's just broken, Melech Beit David. This is the famous Beit David inscription, the only one that definitely mentions David ever discovered in the world. By the way, there's one more that maybe mentions David. And the interesting thing is that Chazael Melech Aram is actually boasting that he killed Yehoram and Achaziah? He's taking credit for something you didn't do. But wait a minute, in what situation did this happen? We're in the middle of the war against Hazael Melech Aram. Which means that in some way, if Yehu stops fighting, turns himself back home, kills Achaziah and Yehoram, what will make the people of Israel not lose the battle that's happening right now? Nothing. The leader left. Aram can now sweep in. What stops them from doing that? The only thing that can stop them from the Aramim from doing that, in reality, is that they got some tie, some agreement. Let's say a week of ceasefire. I don't know, something. So in the eyes of Hazael, of course, enlarging himself a little bit, I did it. It happened. I allowed it to happen. What happens next? Does Yehu keep on fighting Aram? His son will. His days, the war ended. It just ceased to exist. There was apparently some agreement that the Tanach doesn't mention, but actually the archaeological find here, this inscription, helps us understand there was something happening there in between the lines. So I don't think Hazael Melech Aram killed Achaziah and Yehoram. He allowed it to happen because in his eyes he wants to get rid of the house of Achav that are fighting him. What he doesn't know is that the house of Yehu will continue doing the same thing. He's hoping he'll manage to take over in this way or that, thanks to this agreement that we can assume actually happened because we put it in context.
It's really amazing after learning the Pesukim and then coming to a place and learning about it and seeing where all the areas are and looking at everything and this place is here and that place is there, and it comes together.